Hey guys, my name is Matamil, and today I'm excited to say that the remastered version of the classic Dragon Valley map is now available for all players in Battlefield 4. If you haven't been paying attention over this last couple of months, DICE has basically bestowed upon us even more free content. You don't need to be a premium member, you don't even need to put down $5, it's all 100% free, and on top of that, the cherry on top, this map is fantastic. And so the first thing that I want to take a look at is the TDM version, which is basically Noshahr Canals from Battlefield 3. The first time that I learned that DICE was going to be remastering this in a Battlefield 4, I will fully admit that I got a little bit too excited. I loved this map back in the day. Not only was it just a great way to get warmed up, just to get comfortable with the controls and then jump into some normal conquests, but it was just a great map in its own right. It had a lot of great long range and close quarter combat, it had a lot of variety, and while the spawn system could be a little wonky at times, it wasn't perfect in that category, it's still one of the most popular maps back in Battlefield 3 if you go play on it right now. And so the idea of bringing it into Battlefield 4 with the updated graphics, with all the new weapons, with everything that is in the game right now, I thought that it was going to be amazing. And while it still is a solid map, like don't get me wrong here, I'm enjoying what it is, DICE decided to do the weird thing and make it look like Noshahr Canals, like it looks and feels like it, but because they made some subtle differences, or actually some very large differences, it doesn't play exactly the same like it did back in the day, and for me at least, this is probably the biggest disappointment, and honestly the only disappointment that I have with this DLC. The biggest thing that you're going to notice, or the biggest difference, is that it's just a significantly larger map. To get to one side to the other is going to take you longer in the Battlefield 4 version when you're just running from one end to the other. Because they decided to spread everything out, it changes the angles. It changes how you approach different situations. Now when you want to cross the road, you're leaving yourself incredibly exposed in the Battlefield 4 version. Like, there isn't going to be just a couple of seconds when you're exposed. Like, no, you're going to be out in the open for quite some time. And so, at least for me, it slowed down the combat significantly. And so, while once again, I'm still enjoying it, it doesn't have that same sense or that same type of gameplay that I used to love back in Battlefield 3. And while I'm sure that this was a conscious decision on the part of DICE to design it this way, I don't understand why they did design it this way. It's like, if you're gonna bring back a fan favorite map, why not make it a one-to-one replica? Maybe there is just some gameplay or some weapon balance in Battlefield 4 that is so different from the Battlefield 3 version that it just wouldn't work. Maybe they thought the spawn system was completely trash and they wanted to improve that by making everything more spread out. I don't really know, but because they have made these subtle changes, at least for me, the map is fun. Like, don't get me wrong, I still think I'm gonna spend a lot of time on this just playing TDM. I think it's still going to be a fan favorite in the Battlefield 4 version, but it's nowhere near the majesticness of the Battlefield 3 version, at least in my humble opinion. As for the normal Dragon Valley, probably the game modes that you're going to be spending most of your time with this DLC, it's amazing. What I'm loving most about this is the variety of gameplay and combat that you can experience between the different game modes. If you want all-out epic warfare and you want to play on probably the biggest map in Battlefield 4, I don't know if it is technically the biggest, but if you're running around as an infantry, it is going to feel epic. This thing is absolutely massive, and if you want to have that type of gameplay, well, you have it in spades with Dragon Valley. But what I like about it is that if you're not too keen on more of the tank or the vehicular gameplay, and you want to bring things more close quarters or infantry focused, if you move on over into the smaller, just normal conquest, or if you play Rush, you're gonna find plenty of that type of combat. What I'm loving about Rush right now is that it feels a lot more like Bad Company 2 Rush, because instead of just having 3 bases that you have to destroy, or like 3 different sets of objectives, you have 5 objectives that you have to take out when you are on offense. This might seem a little daunting, but this was a lot what it was like back in Bad Company 2. Bad Company 2 was the dawn of Rush. That's where DICE created to begin with, and for the most part, all of the maps were well designed around it. So far, and I've only put a couple of hours onto the CTE version, and now I've only played a couple of hours on the Battlefield 4 version of Rush, but so far, every single time that I play on it, it's a hell of a lot of fun. Yes, you can get bogged down. There are a couple of snags here and there, but I thought because the map is so gigantic and that the offensive team has to traverse from literally from one side to the other, that would be at a huge disadvantage. But at least so far, offense hasn't had any problems. It feels like this epic tug of war between both sides, and in general, I am absolutely adoring this game mode on Dragon Valley. With this DLC, it also came with some patch notes, and while there aren't any extravagant sweeping changes here, they haven't, adjusted the weapon balance significantly, one thing I think you guys need to be aware of is that they fixed the Igla. The Igla before this update had a very fast travel speed. I don't know if many people were aware of this because many people don't use this rocket, but if you were one of the people that stumbled across it, you would know that its travel speed was crazy fast. I think it was upwards of like 300 or 400 meters per second, and so as soon as you locked onto something and fired it, half a second, or not even half a second at sometimes, it would hit the enemy vehicle. Being on the receiving end of that sucked. There was no way that you could activate your countermeasures. There was no way that you could be able to thwart something that had that fast of a travel speed, and so of course it would result in some very frustrating deaths. DICE retracted this. It's now back to, I think, its original travel speed, which is around 80 meters per second. This was unintended. They did not mean to do this in the last update. It just kind of slipped through the cracks, and so in general, the Igla is not going to have that overpowered quality. And then lastly, I just have to give a huge tip of my hat to DICE and also EA, because I realize that they're the ones that are sponsoring them here, for making even more free content. If you told me over 2 years ago at the launch of Battlefield 4 that DICE was going to continuously support this over the next 2 years and also bring free content after premium, I would have laughed in your face. I would have said there's no way, especially with the state of the release of the game. That's exactly what they've done, and then on top of that, a lot of this DLC has been amazing, and so thank you, DICE. This map looks amazing, it plays well, it has a wide variety of content and different types of gameplay, and so just in general, I have been very impressed by this. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Give me your thoughts on Dragon Valley. Are you also a little disappointed by the TDM version? Are you loving Rush or Conquest? Let me know down below. But yep, until tomorrow, have a good one, and take it easy.